Hi, welcome to my latest video. Well, this one will be episode 1 of a new series I'm creating, and it will be a series where I build a brand new network attached storage server for my home network. It will replace my existing network attached storage, which was built about almost 5 years ago now, and it was based upon the operating system Sigma NAS, a freeware version of a NAS software that worked very well, but it's not too easy to configure and to expand. So to move forward, I'm switching over to TrueNAS. I mean, that seems to be the thing that's in play these days, right? So what I've done is I've got here a case that I've already put the power supply in, and I've also made some modifications too. That is a rack mounted, just under 16-inch in depth NAS server case, okay? Now, it originally was meant to hold 6 hard drives, 3.5-inch, and 2 5.25-inch drives, which nobody uses anymore anyway. I thought about it, but there's no reason to use them anymore. And that would be it. But I've expanded it. I've taken out the components that would allow for the 5.25, and I've changed it to 3 3.5-inch drives. So that's how I get up to 9 3.5-inch drives, because it already had room for 6, so now I'm expanding that by 50%. I also took from that same kit that I converted the 5.25-inch bays to 3.5-inch bays. It had an option for changing that into 2.5-inch SSD types, or hard drives. They do have them. They're not very popular these days. But I took that particular rack component out of that kit and I put it off onto the side. And I'll show that in a few minutes when I give a close-up view of this case and how it looks internally. That way I can put 4 more SSD drives, and I have 4 drives that I'll be using for that, which are 1 terabyte, and that way that'll be one section of my total storage for the NAS. However, off to the side here, I have 4 10 terabyte Seagate Iron Wolf hard drives, NAS drives, okay? That'll be another section, and I have, let me see if I can pick all these guys up. I have a total of 4. It's a much larger packaging on these things. 4 12 terabyte Seagate Iron Wolf hard drives. That'll be the other. Now, if I can get another one of those drives, which are hard to find right now for some reason, I got a break when I bought these, I guess. If I can get one more of those, then I'll make that pool a little bit bigger. Or I'll just change it from my planned Z1, which means 1 drive dedicated to recovery, to a Z2, which would dedicate 2 drives to that pool to recovery. Okay, so that's my plan right now. However, before I put it into this final case, I am going to hot stage it completely with one of my test benches. And you've seen this before if you looked at my previous video on test benches. So this test bench here, I've got a bunch of SSDs on it right now to do some preliminary testing, and it works fine. It has an HBA card that can support 8 drives, and I'm adding a second EISA card to expand that by 4. The motherboard has 4, so it gives me enough SATA ports to put in all of these drives and have a couple of drives to be the operating system, in this case, the TrueNAS operating system. And I'm doing it as mirrored, so that the 2 drives that are the operating system, if one were to fail, I would still be able to boot the other one up without any problem. I know that's a little bit overkill, but you know, I'd rather not have that much downtime, if you know what I mean. If it's just that drive, that's the operating system and configuration files. But in order to get this all to work inside of the test bench, I had to get a couple of these expansion boxes. These are for hard drives. I bought 2 of them. Each one of these, and I added fans to each in the back of it, can support 5 3.5-inch hard drives. Or if you put a shelf in that can change one of those drive slots into 2.5, can support 4 and 2. So I'm going to do that with one of these. The other one I'll just put either 4 or 5 drives in it, depending on what my final drive count is, as I said a moment ago, before I finalize this build. But I'm going to get this all on the test bench, up and running with every piece of hardware that I plan on having. Now, one thing that I put in here is a recent 10 gig interface card from WAVLINK, and it's excellent. I actually bought this one, and I have the other one that's sitting in one of my other test benches that'll be the replacement for my new streaming rig. Okay? Now right now that streaming rig only has a 2.5 gig interface, and it doesn't have another X.4 slot to put a 10 gig in it, which is one of the main reasons I'm replacing it, although it has some other features I didn't like that have caused me some aggravation. So that's the plan for that. So that board will go into this NAS server as well, since it has, in all of my testing so far, and in running temporarily the streaming rig with that test bench and it in it, I've been extremely pleased with it. It was very easy to configure, and it fully supports TrueNAS as well as anything else. Okay? So let me go ahead now, and I'm going to do a quick presentation and show you what the pools are going to look like, because there's a few more things that I have in here that I didn't mention yet. Okay? So it'll just take a few minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll show you some more detail about the stuff that is going in and where it's going in to this new NAS server. Okay, let's go over the pool structure for this new NAS server. I'll be using multiple pools of drives for storage purposes. The first pool will have 4 10 terabyte drives in it, and it'll be configured as a ZFS Z1, which is the same as a RAID 5. That means that even though I have 4 drives, I will only have 3 of those drives equivalent storage space, so it'll be a total of 30 terabytes of actual space on those hard drives. But in addition to that, I will have 1 terabyte cache drive, NVMe, on the motherboard dedicated to this particular pool, so that an application that's reading a lot of information sequentially or over and over again will take advantage of the extra speed, which approaches 3,000 megabytes per second, as opposed to the hard drives being maybe 250 megabytes per second. That's called RD Pool A in my server. The second pool will be also 4 drives, but they will be 12 terabytes, as I showed in the previous layout of the parts. We will once again be in Z1 ZFS format, which is the same as RAID 5, and we'll only get 3 of those drives in equivalent storage space, or 36 terabytes. The 4th drive, again, will be spread across all 4 drives for parity recovery purposes. And for this pool, I'll have another 1 terabyte NVMe drive dedicated as a read cache. So that'll speed up that pool as well. Then, finally, there will be a 3rd pool, which will be 4 1 terabyte SSDs, 2.5 inch. And that will give me a total of 3 terabytes of usable space, but there's no cache on this one. I don't think there's a need to, since these drives are almost 3 times as fast as a hard drive. So, why duplicate? Also, I don't have room for another NVMe drive on that motherboard. So these represent the 3 pools that will make up this server that we're building. But also, I have the backup Sigma NAS. Now I'm converting this to TrueNAS as well. Right now, this is what it's running, and it'll become my off-site backup, ultimately. Initially on-site, then it'll be moved off-site once I've set up a VPN configuration using my new network servers and switches to allow me to use that as a continuous off-site backup. And it also has in it 4 drives, but those are only 6 terabytes with a usable space of only 18 terabyte, but there is a 500 gigabyte cache on that system as well. Again, this was what I built 4 or 5 years ago, right? So it'll remain the same. I'm just going to change the software on it. So with that, let's go ahead now and take a look at the hardware up close in a little more detail and how I'll lay it all out. Okay, let's start with the test bench that has most of the components in it already that'll be going into the NAS server. I have the motherboard in here, an Asus 8th gen motherboard that has everything that I need for a NAS server on it. I also have an 8th gen CPU, I think it's an 8087, and I put this Noctua cooler on it that's low profile, that'll fit into that case very well. And I have 4 16 gigabyte DIMMs. That gives me a total of 64 gigabyte of memory for this server, which I think is pretty good for a NAS server that's running TrueNAS. In terms of the cards, I have the SBA card here. It has 8 ports on it, which are converted over to SATA ports. That's what these little light blue cables are. Each one of these is another SATA port. You can see them connected up to each of the drives here. These are SSD temporarily, but eventually that'll be all to the hard drives. Okay? That power supply is not the one that's in the NAS, that's the test bench power supply, although I think it's about the same power. In addition to the SBA, I have the 10 gig WAVLINK card in it, the new one that I bought, and I have a 1X card that supplies 4 SATA ports. So that'll give me the 4 extra ports I need to support the SSD section or pool of my new NAS. And that's basically it. Here are the satellite housings for the additional hard drives. When I set it all up, these will be connected up to this, and we'll be able to see all of the equipment running, with the exception of the power supply and the fans. Those are different, as I'll show you in a minute. Oh, I almost forgot. We have the 2 1 terabyte NVMEs in here in the 2 slots. I put these aluminum coolers on them as well. Okay, let's take a look at the other one. So here's a Rosewill rack-mounted NAS case. As you can see here, this I actually pulled out the 5 1/4 inch drive bay component and put in this component here that allows for 3 3.5 inch drives going up this way from the bottom to the top. It already has 2 of those built into the case. Each one of these is also 3 drives. And then this is what I mentioned that I added. That was an extra piece left over in that kit that I then went ahead and drilled holes and secured with the proper screw sizes onto the case. And I measured it very carefully to make sure this is not going to interfere with anything on the motherboard. Also, I've already changed all the fans. They're all Noctua fans, the gray versions. So the 2 back ones, the front one dedicated to these 3 3.5 inch drives, and then I have one here that's dedicated to this pair that represents 6 more drives. That's the actual power supply that's already installed, the Corsair RM650X that I had. Now, what I did is I ordered another SATA cable. They did have them available on Amazon in order to give me a 3rd one. There is a plug for it, but it only came with 2. But that won't be enough for what I'm doing. Even though I have extensions that I've included in several locations throughout this, where I extend out these existing ones, it's still not enough to provide for all the drives, counting all of the hard drives, which will be 8 or 9, and then the SSDs, which will be 6, right? 4 of them for this pool, and then 2 more to be the boot drives in mirrored configuration. Okay, so I had to order all of that. One thing I've been considering, since I have an extra component, I was thinking about maybe, since this only has USB 2.0 over here, there is room underneath here to punch out and install this. This was originally meant to be mounted onto the motherboard with 2 3.0 USB connectors on it. I can actually do a cutout here and connect that from the inside underneath the dry bays. I have not decided whether or not to fully do that yet or not. I'm thinking about it still. It's like 50-50 at this point. And if I do, I'll include that in one of the future episodes of this series, okay? Let me see, anything else of interest here? I think that's about it. I think I have covered everything that I wanted to cover with this. So what we'll do now is say farewell, and thanks for watching the video, and stay tuned for the 2nd episode, okay? Take care.